Hello there, it's Linda Stacy of Living Blueprints, and today I'm going to talk about this feeling that a lot of people have about stepping away from their desk when they can't be seen, working from home, and what's okay in terms of being away from the desk. Again, Linda Stacy of Living Blueprints. Whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, I would love it if you would like the video. It helps other people find similar content. And also subscribe if you're on YouTube. As more and more people that I get on there, the closer I get to naming my own URL, which will be really, really cool. So this topic about being away from your desk has come up a few times. Anytime I'm doing a remote webinar these days, actually even before COVID, I attempt to do some kind of survey with the people that I'm going to be speaking to, just to kind of get a pulse, a sense check of what's going on. And every time when I talk about obstacles or what's getting in people's way, always comes up, not from everyone exclusively, this is an open-ended question, this issue around being away from the desk. It's either an employee, a direct report saying that they feel guilty or they feel like they have to be like at their desk all the time. And every once in a while I get kind of the boss's perspective, of not sure that their employee is there working. So, this is an issue. And for some reason, when we're in the office, we assume that if someone's sitting at their desk, that they're working. They might not be. There's so many other things one could be doing with the, World Wide Web at our fingertips and so on. So let's just talk about some of these things. I'll say there's no right or wrong, perfect answers. One of the things I'd like to say, though, is that as human beings, we're not machines. And there is kind of, in some people's minds, this industrial revolution type of thing around work, that we're just supposed to sit there and work for like long, consecutive, nonstop, attached to our computers until we get some official break. And that really isn't how our brains work, and that really isn't how we're meant to work as human beings. And it's not how we work optimally. So I really don't think that that's what we're about here. I do think we need to be able to step away from our machines. I think everyone would agree with that. But some people are feeling like they're cheating a little bit when they step away from their machine. And they didn't feel that way when they were in the office. When they went to get coffee at the office or got lunch or went to the bathroom, you probably didn't even think about it. But now you get up to use the bathroom, you're going to be in the kitchen for 10 minutes putting something together. And it becomes, this issue where you think about what is the impression? I'm away from the desk right now. My little green light has turned to yellow or whatever, if you're on some kind of instant message system. And I would say overall, the more that we can let that go, the better. If we're away for, a couple of minutes here and there, getting coffee, going to the bathroom, totally reasonable. Anything that you'd be doing in the office and not getting questioned on, I think is reasonable to do. And we do need breaks in order to continue to work well. Early in this experience, I was chatting with my brother about the experience of working from home, and he said that one of the biggest drains that he wasn't really expecting was that now that he wasn't like getting up between meetings, he was just constantly like online and looking at Zoom. It was like not creating this mental shift for him that he didn't even recognize was happening when he was in the office, going from one meeting room to another or connecting with different colleagues. So there's something that's just happening there through our physical change in environment, the actual break from one meeting to the next, getting up, walking around, the actual opportunity to stop and use the bathroom. These types of things are creating a shift whether we know it or not. I mean, you probably recognize that if you go for a short walk, or when you were in the office, if you went out to get coffee, that you kind of came back maybe a little bit changed, a little bit different, a little bit fresher perspective. So we need to be able to put that in there, but also just this idea that we can't step away, that's draining too. If we're, getting coffee or doing something else and we're just constantly thinking about someone thinks that I'm away from my desk right now, that's not a good thing either. So these things are not awesome. The more we can let these small breaks kind of relieve ourselves around them, I think that's the better. But as an employee, we don't want to feel like we're under the microscope, right? I think that that's what we're hoping for. As a boss, though, I think bosses don't want to have to worry that you're actually working. So I think bosses and employees, we need to have conversations about what's acceptable in terms of time away from the computer, especially if it's not during like a known time. I mean, there are some people that we kind of know when they're going to be at lunch because that's what happens every day. But for others of us, that's going to shift, or we choose to use that period of time for something else like running errands. And I do think it's a good idea to let people know when you're going to be away. especially if there's any kind of internal customer service going on or any expectation that you're going to have to respond to something, absolutely let people know. It's a courtesy, especially to your boss who's probably got a lot of things going on. Let them know. I saw something on one of these on Fishbowl, so a gossip website for for companies, that said, the fact that he's got to tell his manager every 10 minutes if he's going to be gone for more than 10 minutes. And it's like, okay, so what? I mean, that's kind of one of my responses is, so what? So tell him if you're going to be away for more than 10 minutes. If there's something else going on, ask about it. Ask what's reasonable. Ask what's acceptable. There was a time when I wasn't sure if it was okay to take lunch because I never saw my boss take a lunch. And so I just asked her, I said, I kind of feel like there's a lot of pressure to stay at my desk. And she apologized and she said, by all means, do not use me as an example and go and take a lunch. So have conversations with people, talk about what's expected. And then as far as actual work goes, I think that we need other things in place other than, whether or not someone's light screen to know if they're working. What actual work product are they putting out into the world? What is moving forward? Are projects moving forward the way that you would expect them to be? If the person doesn't have enough work and wouldn't be able to know this, perhaps they need more work, or perhaps, their work could be combined with someone else's. There's other things that are going around with all of this. So again, I feel like conversations are really awesome within teams about what is acceptable, how long people should be away from their desk. If you're not sure if you're away for too long, you might be away for too long. but overall, the way that you might measure whether someone sometimes conversations aren't happening and there should be. And if you're the employee, it's okay to bring things up, even if it's not being brought up by the boss. But, if you're not being asked to do bigger projects or things that are kind of cool, or, that could be an indication that you're not seen as reliable, or that there's other stuff going on. So consider how you are being called upon as an employee to kind of level up. And if people are calling on you to do bigger, cooler things, that's usually a sign that they trust you, that you're there. And I think that's what a lot of this is around. So are there any other things I want to share about this? I think, like I said, overall, it's really important to have conversations. I think that we need to take breaks. We need to be able to have a mental shift. And I've talked a lot about working for 25 minutes, really, really focused on like one thing, and then taking short breaks in between. And that could be getting up from your computer, but that could also be just shifting what you're paying attention to on your computer. You could look to see if an important email came in. So ways to give yourself breaks, whether you're getting up or not, it's super important. But also this whole guilt thing, I think that guilt is a draining thing. If you really aren't working enough and you're feeling guilt because of that, then maybe the guilt is appropriate. But check in and ask your boss if they've noticed anything that concerns them about what you're doing, or if it's a big deal to do X, Y, or Z. So have conversations. Don't be afraid. Ask for clarity when someone says, let me know if you're going to be away for 10 minutes or more. You're probably under a big time pressure type of project or something like that. Something is going on. It might be reasonable. It might not be. Anyway, again, if you're watching this, or whether you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, please like the video if you found it useful, and subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.